Hi, my name's Amanda Lancaster. I'm going to talk to you today about my week one negotiation. It was personal between my husband and I, Philip, and the negotiation was about deciding whether or not to purchase a lot to build um, our retirement home or retire from the military, not retire, in Alaska. And so this was very much an interest based negotiation. We'd been looking at a pre existing home it's a small lake outside of Anchorage in Alaska. So we've been looking at this pre-existing home in this lot for a few months and kind of just watching the market, determining if it worked for what we wanted and if Alaska was really where we wanted to retire, all those kind of external things. We knew we wanted to buy one or the other if Alaska was where we wanted to go. Um, and so we decided to kind of sit down and like openly list each other's concerns and interests in order to make the decision to go forward with a purchase or not. Two or three things that I learned from this that I would say are the highlights. There's definitely more than two or three. Is one, creating a working relationship versus having an adversarial relationship. So keeping it amicable and open and not really shooting anybody's concerns or ideas down worked well for us because this could be highly emotional, which clearly leads to my next one, which was we took emotion out of the negotiation. Some emotional things that go into this conversation that we decided just to table because it wasn't relative to whether or not to buy. These were totally different decisions that had to be made before that. Was we're not going to be near any of our families, so that's emotional and kind of can't play in. And we weren't going to get angry with each other if we ended up like prioritizing our interests into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So we decided not to get frustrated or adversarial if like one of my tier 1s was a deal breaker and it couldn't be met, and vice versa, one of his tier 1s was a deal breaker and couldn't be met. And then we identified shared interests that led to mutual gain. And I'll give you an example of this. So the lot was zoned for 2 houses to be able to be built on it. It was an acre. It was kind of a long, narrow lot down to the waterfront. And my husband had always wanted to build this storage shed or this utility shed or outbuilding, whatever you call it, where you're from, to house all his toys, snow plows, snowmobiles, four-wheelers, all that kind of stuff. And he had been thinking all along he was going to buy a separate lot, a mile, 2, 3, 4 away from where the house was. And I didn't really know that. So I didn't know that in his brain he was adding another budgetary thing into this, to buy that lot and then put the building up there, which of course would have to have power and heat because it's Alaska, probably water, all those kind of things. So I asked the question of why we weren't doing it where the second home could be, and what that led to that mutual gain of adding in that entire second budget in his brain and adding more into the overall budget for the one lot versus having 2 separate. I had made the assumption he'd just done that because it was zoned for 2 and he hadn't, and so it led to that bigger area of bargaining power. Like I said, we didn't really have any frustration over emotional things. So we quickly went on to kind of our tier 1 concerns, which were water sewer hookups, what we needed to do to get the waterfront more beach-like, more beach-friendly for our kids because it's kind of swampy, muddy. Restrictions that the city put on that, which led us to figure out that we kind of had to table some of the tier 2, tier 3 concerns because they required external searches or information from the city or zoning or kind of those kind of things. The good thing was it was already hooked up for city water and sewer, and it was already zoned for 2 buildings. So we knew how close we could build it to the water and how far we had to be from the water. We knew kind of that stuff. We had to get some estimates on dirt work to get a paved road, all that kind of things that just go into that big budget conversation. So it was good. It was good to get all the interests out and to kind of just openly have a conversation about what was higher on each of our priorities and where we wanted to go from there. What was nice is that we went in, like I said, not being adversarial and kind of knowing each other's big term goals. We'd picked a house, we picked a floor plan, we knew the square footage, we knew all that kind of stuff. So it was a good negotiation. We decided to buy the lot, so that was exciting. And that's the end of my week 1 negotiation.